This is part of a Tranzact Card post. Somebody had asked a question, and then I'm going to be showing you all the answers to it, and it's wild. I don't know if you remember from one of my other Tranzact Card videos, one of the individuals in the group, one of the DBOs, really angry. He's back and he's writing walls of text, and it's fantastic. Welcome to the epic saga of Tranzact Card. So the question, I've put emojis to designate different people, but the conversation we're going to focus on is the one in the middle with the red line through it. And the person asked, question, if someone signs up 3 DBOs and they become manager, then one of the DBOs drops out, do they have so much time before the manager position is taken away, or does it happen immediately? And then the first person responds and says, I think it is 30 days. So what that all means is they've recruited other people. They've recruited 3 DBOs, these digital branch officers, not to be confused with Amway's IBOs, although they get their inspiration from Amway. And if one of those people decide, I don't want to do this business because I realize this is a pyramid scheme, then they have 30 days to replace that person. Otherwise, they lose their rank. That's what that's about. And so here comes the conversation, and this is fantastic. Okay, so the first person says, yes, they will have a grace period to replace the DBO and keep their manager rank. And the original poster says, thank you so much for replying. I appreciate it. And then somebody else has a question, and they decide to ask it in this thread. Will the $50 a month start back up and from 1% back to 10%? Or is it if we become manager by end of the year, regardless, we never lay to $50 a month and 10% as long as we hit manager by end of the year? And if that if that post doesn't make any sense to you, congratulations, it doesn't make any sense to me either. But this is more garbled language that Tranzact Card DBOs reps are using. You can see how confusing this is when you're in a pyramid scheme. The specifics of these scams, they never matter. It's just more confusing details. But the reason why I want to show you this whole conversation is because they're trying to help each other out. They're trying to ask each other, because they can't ask their upline because they'll be shamed. They can't ask the company because they won't answer. They turn to each other to help each other. Okay, now this person says, if you hit manager by December 31st, the $50 monthly fee is waived for life. And then if you are a founder, you move into the 10% monthly, which everybody pays at the 1% monthly to the company, and 9% monthly goes into your power safe. So just bear with me. I know this is confusing and boring, but it's about to get really good because angry person is about to join in. And so this person says, thank you. And to be a founder, we need 3 TCMs, correct? Because these compensation plans, these structures, these pyramid schemes are always confusing. So here we go. Here's Angry Guy. Angry Guy is back. You guys need to stop thinking of this like an MLM, even though it is an MLM, and more like a real business. You cannot make this shit up. He actually wrote that. These DBO positions with people under them are not worthless. I have someone who said he has given up trying to become manager. I'm not having much luck finding people, but I'm sure as hell not giving up. Why is he so angry? Where did this anger come from? People are just asking questions in the group. And he's not having much luck finding people, maybe with not that negative stinking attitude. So here he goes. He has launched. Once we transition out of this initial getting off the ground phase and revenues start coming in from the use of the debit cards, the resale value of DBO positions will start to become apparent. Wait 6 months and then sell it. But even at that point, you'd be crazy. You can set up a website that's generating $50 a day and easily sell it for $50,000 or maybe $75,000 if most of the traffic is organic. If you're making $500 a month from your DBO, that's $6,000 a year, assuming zero growth, which is utterly silly considering it's growing almost exponentially right now. And I'm not using that the way most people toss it around. So he's just getting started. He's just launched into this. Now, for someone who's having difficulty recruiting people, he sure is spouting a lot of word salad as if he understands what he's talking about. Who would be buying a website for Tranzact Card a pyramid scheme for $50,000 or $75,000. Who the hell is going to buy that? Nobody's going to buy that. This guy's just angry. He wants you off his lawn. He desperately wants to recruit you into his Tranzact Card MLM pyramid scheme. Okay, the utterly silly. We were at 10,000 or so members the end of August. I suspect we'll be at a 120,000 by the end of December and over $1 million in a year. Now that is exponential growth. You know what else is exponential growth? Is looking at how a pyramid scheme works and why these are frauds. They're scams. So because you've had an explosion of people join, this is what pyramid schemes do. The people at the top, which sadly, you are not one of them, are going to be experiencing the exponential growth, not you. Why in the hell would anybody want to get rid of a business right at the beginning of a company experiencing exponential growth? The company might want to set up a DBO for sale page for people who want to bail out for whatever reason. But as I said, right now, a DBO costs $495. That's US, by the way. But if it has any active DBOs and or TCMs under it, the value should skyrocket, just like your Mon8 or Arbonne downline. Whoo! Set up a website, drive some traffic, easy to sell that business for $50,000 or $75,000. Not. And so I wanted to show you this whole slide and how many likes and loves, because he responds to himself now. Like I said, this dude is just getting started. He's angry and we don't know why. Probably because he's not recruiting anybody. Here we go. In 1976, the original Apple Inc. founding partnership agreement was signed by Steve Wozniak, Steve Jobs, and a guy named Ronald Wayne. After spending a mere 12 days with Wozniak, I'm hoping I'm saying his name right, and Jobs, Wayne had his name taken off the contract and sold his shares, 10% of the company, back to his co-founders for $800. Wayne's decision to leave the startup cost him big. Today, a 10% stake in Apple would be worth more than $95 billion. That kind of fortune would make Wayne one of the richest people in the world. Don't be like Ron. So this is something that every multi-level marketing company says, and they really believe it. So, and this guy believes it too. If he did as much research into pyramid schemes, for example, taking a look at the history of Amway, Nutrilite, how the administrative law judge James P. Timoney decided that, you know what, Amway, I think that you're a legitimate business. And the FTC chose to accept that ruling. They didn't have to. If he knew any of the history of multi-level marketing pyramid schemes, if he just looked around at how 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 isn't a legitimate business, instead of quoting all these stories to, fuel the dream of yet another ill-fated pyramid scheme, he'd be a lot better off. But it's so funny, like the angry emoji, because he's very angry. And then also don't be like Ron. So keep in mind, a con is so effective when the people who are being conned defend it. And this guy is a classic example of this. He's defending it. He's not even making any money. He's not recruiting anybody. And here he's lecturing everybody. He's responding to himself and he keeps going. Here's another one. He's responding to himself. He's just so jacked up. Reminder, all of Delta Airlines, including the equipment, people, landing slots at airports, brand value, and everything else, except their rewards program, was appraised with a CAP rate of $10 billion. However, their rewards program all by itself was appraised with a CAP rate of $22 billion. He's trying to draw a parallel between Delta Airlines rewards program and Tranzact Card. You can't make this shit up. Delta is in partnership with Amex, where the Delta Sky Miles members pay Amex $250 per year to be a part of their rewards program. In return, Delta gets maybe 30% of the same 3% or so transaction fees, and their members get around 1% in rewards. Keep in mind that Delta is a publicly traded company, and you can buy stock in it today. But if there were actually two companies, and you could buy stock in either one, the airline itself or their rewards program alone, which one would you buy? The rewards program now only gives credit for paying for stuff with that Amex co-branded card, not the mileage flown. Their first reward level is after you spend, wait for it, $35,000. And for that, you get one round trip domestic US flight for free. Just pay taxes. Why do you suppose Delta switched? Tranzact Card also only gives rewards credits for paying for stuff, no mileage. This is a no-brainer, you guys. Next year, when Tranzact Card gets its BIN, it will be in a position like Amex to collect the lion's share of transaction fees. It will pay the banks a small share, but since the bank and the brand are one and the same company, Tranzact Card has the potential to make a much higher percentage of profit than Delta gets from Amex. Do you wonder why this guy has a hard time recruiting people to Tranzact Card? And here comes somebody, this is a brand new person that's chiming into the conversation. I understand what you're saying, but a hard no on DBO for sale. You will only hurt the person above you. Oh, this another person chimes in. If the DBO position is sold, the person buying it gets that spot. That doesn't hurt the person above you, but angry person comes back in. Don't you dare inject yourself into my rant and my thread here. I'm taking over this post. I don't see how selling a productive business would have any sort of impact on their community at all, especially as compared to doing nothing and just letting it die. Would you want a dead leg because someone sees no value in it? Like a garden that never gets watered and weeded? Or would you prefer it be handed over to someone who's actually going to help it grow and thrive? And the person's like, my only concern is if it's sold, they may not be in the same leg. And angry person can't, just like angry, they're angry for no reason. They're angry they're in a pyramid scheme. They're angry they're getting scammed. They're angry they're unaware of it. They're angry they can't recruit. They're angry that people are asking questions. They're angry that they're not getting enough attention. They're angry that you are on their lawn. Get off their lawn. All we see here are people who have basically given up and have not added any DBOs or TCMs to their business. That's you, bud. And they just want their money back. Yet look at how many people are making up scenarios like Apple or Delta Airlines that assume someone has a really successful business that they want to sell. This is mind-numbing. People really are selling dead DBOs that they have no intention of doing anything with. I have not seen a single person say, I've got a DBO I'm making $40,000 a month on, and I'd like to sell it. Who wants to invest? You're never going to see that because you're in a pyramid scheme. Nobody is being hurt nor helped by a dead DBO in their community if the monthly payments aren't being made. And this is where it ends. I think that angry guy is still talking to this day. I think the thread might still be continuing, but sadly my mole left the group, and this is just a segment of this riveting discussion that was going on amongst Tranzact Card business owners. This is not an MLM. This is not a pyramid scheme. This is certainly not a cult, you guys. This is a legitimate business, and this is how we support each other in the Tranzact Card family. Thank you for watching, and I have a lot more Tranzact Card content coming. And one last thing I forgot to mention is that if you're in Tranzact Card, it's great that you're watching this content, because each minute that you spend watching anti-MLM commentary on Tranzact Card is another minute that you're unable to try to prospect someone into your pyramid scheme. It's one more minute that you're going to be infuriated and start critically thinking about this mess that you're in. Maybe you'll join another group and start complaining about all the haters on the internet. But in any case, thank you for spending more and more of your time taking in anti-MLM content and less time trying to recruit people into your pyramid scheme.